Cheers everyone, it's Fulton here, and I have a very special video to film for you all this evening. This is going to be the top 40 albums of 2016 video, as well as just a catching up to speed on all things 2016. This is also a celebration of 90 days of a detox cleansing that I just underwent. One of the best things that I could recommend anyone do if you really want to love yourself and love your body and just do a hard reset on your body. 90 days away from alcohol, we're celebrating with one of the best IPAs, at least one of the best rated IPAs in the entire world, Heady Topper by the Alchemist Brewing Company. Thank you so much to my boss, Sean, for buying this for me, and it is a wonderful treat, well worth the wait. You are awesome, thank you so much. We have a lot of great music to talk about. Let's just be frank about this. We're going to do a top 40 in this video, but we're also going to do some honorable mentions, and in the description box, I have provided you 100 hand-picked albums from this year, ranging from rock to progressive to heavy metal and extreme metal and everything in between. But I'm going to be running through some of those 100 albums. Again, this just barely broke the surface of what came out this year. I'm sure there's going to be people on this video that are going to say, well, why wasn't this on the list? Why wasn't this on the list? A top 40 is blasphemous, even just to limit it down to that. But some honorable mentions that I just want to get out of the way before we get into the top 40. We have Anderson Stolt with Invention of Knowledge, Behold the Arctopus with Cognitive Emancipation, Candiria with While They Were Sleeping, Crystal Palace, Dawn of Eternity, Dissona with Paleopneumatic, Fallujah with Dreamless, Krallis with 2 releases, the Hyperion EP and Prelapsarian, that one just came out right at the end of December, Nails with You Will Never Be One of Us, Our Oceans with their self-titled album, Redemption with The Art of Loss, Riverside, Eye of the Soundscape, Rest in Peace Pure Tear, Sean Ash, Flux, Vector with Terminal Redux, Vola, In Mazes, and just some hand-picked albums that I have in, where did I put that? A really big one that did not make it to the top 40, unfortunately, but still was a pleasurable listen for me, especially because I've been a fan of them for so long. Metallica with Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This was a great double disc, kind of a great comeback, but it still didn't grasp me the way that I hoped that it would. But still a great product from them, which is, you know, obviously great to hear. Megadeth with Dystopia, again, another great revival, but I was still on the outside looking in, but still some of the best material they've put out in years, really. We have a really interesting one, sort of an underdog that we didn't really talk about all too much on this channel yet. John Wesley with A Way You'll Never Be, and if anyone has seen Porcupine Tree live, or had the pleasure of seeing Porcupine Tree live in the past, John Wesley was their touring guitarist. Great soloist from him, and yeah, it's been a while since he released an album, and good to see him and catch up with him this year as well. Speaking of Steven Wilson, Porcupine Tree, we have a Steven Wilson EP 4.5. Probably a lot of people thought this would make it to the top 40, but this was sort of just like in between tracks between Ribbon That Refused to Sing and Hand Cannot Erase, which obviously did quite well on this channel in years past. But for this year, you know, it's not like I had to give other people a chance, but it's just that you know, this wasn't really an album. This was just sort of a collection of songs that were just sort of floating through the works. And lastly, we got Steve Vai with Modern Primitive. This was a collection of songs that were written in between Flexible and Passion and Warfare, and sort of to me the reason why I didn't include it was because these songs aren't exactly a new thing. They're just sort of new envisions of old ideas. So I can't really consider this a new record. It's just that the way I look at it, the 2016 records were ideas that were formulated within the last few years. That's sort of how I look at it. But we're going to get into the top 40. Alright, so starting the first quarter off at number 40, we have one that almost didn't make the list, but after repeated listens just barely broke through. It was more than I liked than I disliked on this. This is Gojira with Magma. Definitely a departure from the more technical, more aggressive, really rhythmically dense sound into more of a melodic, accessible, more stripped down approach. I definitely respect that the album got made, considering there was a death in one of the members' families, although it just wasn't as hard-hitting and really conceptually memorable as albums they released in the past. You gotta release what your heart is currently with at the time. So, coming at number 40 was Gojira's Magma. Coming in at number 39, we have sort of a comeback and return to form in a way. This was Alcest with Kodama. This is pretty cool packaging on this. So with Shelter, they kind of took a more clean, more melodic approach. Definitely a departure from their black gaze, more metal roots. With this one, they sort of just combined that, and I was really hoping that they would follow with the more melodic ideas that they had from Shelter. I feel like that was the testing of the waters that were Science to Come. Apparently not. They sort of took the vocal stylings of Shelter and mixed it with the more heavier, denser, more kind of dramatic music of their past work and created Kodama, and it's definitely a good mixture, but not really what I was expecting. I don't think they really had to do the heavy stuff again, but this is still a great album, and definitely one that was a better listen every single time I experienced this. So I recommend that to you. And this is Alcest Kodama coming in at number 39. Coming in at number 38 was a record that a lot of people, when it came out, oh God, I don't think I've ever seen one positive review of this album, but I think, I thought it was great. I thought it was cool. And I think this individual is very unique. This is Tommy Giles with Velcro Kid. And Tommy Giles is the lead vocalist and primary lyric writer for Between the Buried and Me. This is a electronic side quest of his ever-going solo career. Every album that he's put out ever since Pulse has been very different in style. Modern Noise was sort of all over the place, and this one is a little bit more focused, but more primarily with electronica. I can understand a lot of people coming from the Between the Buried and Me technical prog side that they're not going to be into this, but I don't know, I think it's great. This is one that you're just going to chill out to. I liked it. Hope you like it too. I definitely liked it enough to put it on the list. So, number 38 with Tommy Giles with Velcro Kid. Number 37, we have a return of some of the progressive metal, technical metal heroes. We have Watchtower with the Concepts of Math, Part 1. Oh man, before Dream Theater and Fate's Warning, Watchtower was one of the craziest bands to have existed, and this is sort of a return to form, a bit of a lineup change here and there, but you know, still Jars and Beck killing it on the guitar and songwriting. This is just a great return to form, one of the best bands that sort of fell off the face of the earth. Good to see them come back. Great vocals, great guitar playing, great lyrics, great concepts, great execution. It's definitely worth your time to check out if you love that technical metal ecstasy. So coming in at number 37, Watchtower with Concepts of Math, Book 1. Alright, moving into number 36, we have another band that's sort of been around a long time but hasn't released many records, and then came back with a record that, again, just turns your mind into shit and scrambled eggs. We have Car Bomb and the album Meta. If you can imagine Meshuggah meeting with Dillinger Escape Plan, meeting with the Deftones, that's pretty much Car Bomb. They got riffs that sound like a revving engine and probably the most dizzying tempo changes I've heard all year. I don't understand how this band does it. I saw them live and I still don't get it, and they did it right in front of me. These guys' internal clocks blow my mind, and the energy from this vocalist and the screams, and also the addition of the clean vocals on this record is something that Car Bomb never had a lot of back in the day. They got it now, and it works very well. So this is great. Highly recommend this if you like Meshuggah, Dillinger Escape Plan, or Deftones. This is a great addition. Car Bomb, Meta, number 36. Number 35, we have Islands with the History of Robots. Now, if you are a fan of Scale the Summit and Chris Letchford, this is another Chris Letchford guitar project, except this is not entirely instrumental, which is very interesting considering that everything that Chris has done up until this point has been instrumental. This was a nice take on guitar playing and the mix of electronica. There's also vocals from Ash O'Hara, previously in the band Tesseract. Yeah, great stuff. I feel like this is sort of the testing of the waters a little bit. I feel like if he is more prolific with this project down the road, he could really expand on what he did here. Good video game music. Highly recommend it. So Islands with the History of Robots coming in at number 35. Okay, number 34, we have Orbs with Past Life Regression. So we got Adam Fisher of Fear Before, Dan Briggs of Between the Buried and Me. We sort of have the whole family tree all coming together this year. Yeah, Orbs coming back with their second full-length record after the amazing record Asleep Next to Science. I don't think this is as good as Asleep Next to Science, but man, this band is just like funny and awesome at the same time. Just absurd lyrics. Adam Fisher is just a true character. And not absurd like, you know, the Mars Volta level of bizarre and cryptic. I mean just funny. However, there are some more serious tracks on this. In fact, one of the first tracks on this record, Death is Imminent, However Relative, is one of my favorite tracks of the year. Talking about the death of his dog and him getting buried and growing into a part of a forest that he passes every day and visits, and all these great memories. This is a great track, and I highly recommend listening to that track and then exploring the rest of the album if you're interested. Orbs are just, they're a bunch of characters, really great music, and it's just, this is not predictable stuff, and that's what I love about it. And it makes me laugh, makes me go, what the hell? It's cool stuff. Yeah, coming in at number 34, Orbs with Past Life Regression. Coming in at number 33, we have Nathaniel Larichette with his first solo record, at least solo record that I know of, entitled Earth and Sky. Now, some may know his other works with other musicians, such as Musk Ox, the main guitar player in Musk Ox, as well as his acoustic interludes in the Agalock record, the last Agalock record, The Serpent in the Sphere. This is way more stripped down. This is just guitar to microphone. So wires, wood, fingers, brain, execution, go. And this was just a joy. This is also a double disc, and the last track being a 40-minute kind of post-rock, ambient, ever-evolving piece. And I meditated to this quite a few times this year. Really, yeah, sit back and relax to this. This is great meditation music and a fantastic artist to support. So coming in at number 33, we have Nathaniel Larichette with Earth and Sky. Okay, number 32, we have another just mindfuck of a band. This is Tooth Grinder with Nocturnal Masquerade. Awesome cover art. Progressive hardcore, I guess, is a way to describe it. I mean, this is a band that's kind of hard to kind of pinpoint. It's definitely slamming, it's definitely very in your face, but it breaks into these unknown territories that you just don't expect, and that's where the band, I think, really shines and differentiates themselves from the pack. Yeah, if you're into like Dillinger Escape Plan mixed with like Mastodon sort of no boundaries kind of style, definitely check out Tooth Grinder with their album Nocturnal Masquerade, coming in at number 32. Great stuff here. And closing out the first quarter, we have another instrumental record. This is Polyphia with Renaissance, and this is the second full-length record from this guitar duo. They're mixing in a little bit more of like a pop accessibility with this record, and this is the first record that they did without guest solos. The first record that they did, entitled Muse, was filled with guest solos to sort of, you know, not only add variety and some great recognition, but also to, you know, build the hype up with this. But I was very curious to see what they were going to be doing on their own, and very interesting, very interesting. They lost their drummer, so that sort of changed things up a little bit, but their bassist is definitely still keeping up with them quite well. Some great grooves on this, and some really, really nice harmonies, some great solos when they want to get technical. This isn't just a total shred fest, although sometimes it can get a little bit extreme, but it's all in good fun. Guitar players like to step all over each other, and it's, you know, it can be awesome. It's groovy, it's melodic, it's got some moments that'll melt your face off. It's great. Polyphia coming at number 31 with Renaissance. All right, we are at the second quarter, numbers 30 to 21, starting this bracket off at Number 30, we have C2I with Set Course for Andromeda! Exclamations! We have a double disc record from a very great up-and-coming instrumental fusion guitar player. Just a family tree of guest solos on this, as well as a concept piece on disc 2 entitled Andromeda. Kind of gets a lot of flack for the kind of anime sounding stuff, but I don't see how the hate could possibly attract to Sithuai. It's amazing stuff, and I think that this is his crowning achievement to date. I am super proud of him for this, and yeah, thanks for the signed copy, brother. I really appreciate it. Definitely keep supporting you. Hope people find out about you through this video. So coming in at number 30, we have C2I with Set Course for Andromeda. Great stuff. Number 29, we have a band that actually wound up on the honorable mentions last year, if I can remember correctly. But they're following with their just grandiose album-to-album concepts. At least they're back on track with it. And it's kind of coming to a closing point. But we have Act 5, Hymns with the Devil in Confessional by the Deer Hunter. Definitely a great melodic, kind of folky, pop prog project. I mean, it's really at this point touched on so many different genres, but Casey has such a way of emotionally wrapping everything up in a neat, tight box, and I don't know how he pumps out so much material so quickly, but yeah, guy is definitely a master at what he does, regardless of how questionable some of the material may come off as. He definitely has an ambitious plan, and he executes it quite well. Yeah, so coming in at number 29, we have The Deer Hunter with Act 5, Hymns with the Devil in Confessional. Okay, number 28, we have another really great find from this year, one that I was able to see, talk to, meet, all that jazz. Yeah, great dudes, great musicians, phenomenal record. This is a Thank You Scientist with Stranger Heads Prevail. Yeah, really cool album cover. It's got a punk energy, it's got a metal energy, it's got a progressive energy. It's literally all over the place. Jazz, prog, technical metal, it's all here somehow, and it doesn't really feel forced. It's pulling from so many directions at so many given times. It's just like, well, what else is going to come? And then you're just like, wow. Yeah, this is an astounding record and a great find from this year. Stranger Heads Prevail by Thank You Scientist, coming in at number 28. Highly recommend it. Number 27. Another unbelievable find from this year in a band that another band I've been able to become friends with, and recommendation from one of my closest friends in music. Yeah, I knew he wouldn't steer me wrong with this one. He never has, and probably never will. This is Moontooth with Chroma Paragon. Oh my god, these guys are just unbelievable, and they're gaining some traction really, really quickly. It's definitely progressive, it's definitely metal, but it's so much more than that. It's got such a unique creativity to it. It pulls from just this really dank rockabilly to this, I don't even know. It just has such a chilled out kind of vibe as well. It's crazy. I definitely recommend checking out the opening track, Queen Wolf, and then just going from there. You know, support local music. And this is one of the best bands in local music, at least from my area, that I could share with you, and they deserve all the recognition that they can get. Great stuff. Moontooth coming in at number 27 with Chroma Paragon. Alrighty, coming in at number 26, another band I had the pleasure of seeing this year with their second record. A lot of people didn't actually like this album too much, but I think that it was a more mature vision of what they were originally trying to go to. This is Black Crown Initiate with Selves We Cannot Forgive. Very strange title, given the reception to the record, Selves We Cannot Forgive. A lot of people felt like they should be ashamed of this record. I honestly don't see how you could possibly say that. I think I like that they don't feel like they have to prove anything, and now they're just exploring themselves. And I feel like that's really what they did. It's still really heavy when it wants to be. It's really technical when it wants to be. Very beautiful and melodic when it wants to be. The songs are definitely slower and more expansive, but I don't think they're any slouch. And I think that the people who are unsure about this record when they first heard it, especially in comparison to their previous work, give this another shot. This is some great stuff, especially if you're into death metal and with a lot of progression and forward thinking. So I can't recommend this enough. Coming in number 26, Black Crown Initiate with Selves We Cannot Forgive. Alright, coming in at number 25 was a record that was a complete surprise for me, considering I wasn't the biggest fan of this band's past work. Not that they aren't, you know, technically savvy, but technicality isn't everything. It's what you do with it in the songwriting department. But they definitely were able to do it this time around, and the outcome was astounding. This is a Legion with Proponent of Sentience. They have a new vocalist, but I don't think that should have changed all that much, but just instrumentally, conceptually, lyrically, vocally, just the way that they wrap this entire package up, especially with some of the guests on here, Bjorn Strid of Soilwork doing some vocals on this. And of course, the Rush cover, I mean, that hits home. Closing the album with it, oh, nice touch, guys. When it wants to unleash, it does. When it wants to be beautiful, it does. When it wants to show you technicality, it does. When it wants to chill out, it does. I mean, wow, I mean, they've really matured as a band on this. And yeah, new vocalist, great choice. Rush cover, again, great choice. Great album. Legion with Proponent of Sentience coming in at number 25. Alright, coming in at number 24, we have a record that I honestly thought I was going to love more than I do. Sort of a disappointment. I mean, this sort of gets back to the same thing about like Gojira and Alcest and everything like that. I was really expecting more, you know, potential album of the year. I mean, that level of anticipation for this. I kind of had to force feed myself this over and over again. And I think, you know, landing it at 24 is probably the highest it can get, considering how much great stuff came out this year. And this is Opeth with Sorceress. And everyone from this channel should know how much I love this band and Michael and everything about what he's done. This record really just confused me, and not in a way that I should be confused. I know what this band is capable of, and I just did not see that level of execution here. I love that they're proud of this record. I do love bands that are proud of their recent output, but I just think that there was so much potential with this, but it was just done in a way that was just barely touching it. I think at this point, Mike just wants to get sort of an immediacy on tape rather than something that seems forced and way too premeditative. But with Sorceress, I feel like there was a lot of great ideas, but just poor execution. I guess it is like a big bag of tricks, and this did not pull many tricks and many stops. I feel like it was very underdeveloped. It could have been evolved more. But still, I love Mike. I sold my soul to him long ago. Whatever he puts out, I'm going to love. Coming in at number 24 is Opeth with Sorceress. Okay, number 23, another record that I was super anticipating once I knew this was coming out. This is the second album from Ancients, entitled Voice of the Void. Especially if you're a fan of Opeth and Mastodon, check out this band. Man, after their last record, I was really anticipating what this band was going to do next. I mean, they poured a lot into Heart of Oak, but this album still has killer monster riffs, technicality, great solos, soaring vocals, harsh vocals. It's got it all, but I feel like it's just, compared to Heart of Oak, this is a little bit failing in comparison, but still no slouch. If you're a fan of Mastodon and Opeth and all that good stuff, definitely check out Ancients if you haven't already. This is good stuff, and I don't think that you should sleep on it, so got to recommend from me. Coming in at number 23. Coming in at number 22, we have another band that's coming back. Omnium Gatherum with Grey Heavens. Oh man, their last album I loved a lot. They are one of the leading bands that make melodic death metal the most melodic it can be. And they don't even really have to try that hard. This band just has countless melodies, great hooks, great playing, great solos, just a catchiness without having to be formulaic with cleans and harshes and whatnot. I mean, they're not really a progressive band, but I feel like this band could be a little bit more explorative with their sound, and I think that there's just untapped reservoirs that they could just explode with. Well, we'll see where they go in time, but this record is still one of the best in their catalog, and I guess a great hand-in-hand to go with their last effort, Beyond. So this is Omnium Gatherum with Grey Heavens. Yeah, awesome. Alright, and closing this tier off at number 21, we have a really crazy instrumental record. It's Rhythmia. This is the album Veil of Control. This is probably my favorite just Rhythmia record to date. I loved Psychic Maps and Passages and Barriers, but this one just took it to a whole new level of just like atmospheric prog instrumental what the fuckery. This is a very strange band to really put down into words. Sort of dissonant but strangely melodic. It's sort of that ugly thing that you can't stop looking at sort of idea. It's a very sublime instrumental group where you're really not quite sure what's going on, but you can't turn it off. Especially with the tonality of the 12-string guitar that Kev plays on this, mixed with the craziest bass lines from Colin Morrison. I mean, he's one of the most forward-thinking bass players and producers in modern metal right now, and I feel like a lot of people just don't get it. If you're a fan of Gorguts and just really outside of the box instrumental songwriting and execution, check out Just Rhythmia. This is amazing stuff. I mean, it made it, halfway up the top 40, so that's got to say something. Check this out. Do not sleep on it. Give this band some support. Coming in at number 21, The Veil of Control by Just Rhythmia. Ah.